Hi there, this is Jerry. I'm with A Bushel and a Hug, and today I wanted to share with you a card that I have created for my grandson Max, who's getting ready to turn 3. He's getting ready to turn 3 pretty quick, so I knew when I saw this little image that this would be a card for Max. He's all boy, he loves anything that has to do with dump trucks, regular trucks, cars, anything like that. He loves all of that stuff. He's all over it. So I was at the All Dressed Up website and was printing off some of their cute little images for a girls' weekend, and I stumbled on upon this one, and I knew it had to be for his birthday card. He will hopefully just love it. It's actually an image that I think was created for maybe Father's Day. It's called A Present for Daddy. And you can see part of the words on the image that I'm coloring. I cropped out some of the words actually because I knew I was going to cut this image out. Um, but I'm going to use it for the birthday card. And I think it'll work just fine for that. Um, as I said, I'm going to cut the image out, so you might notice that my coloring may be a little sloppy because I didn't have to really worry about staying in the lines. I will admit it's kind of hard for me to color outside of the lines. I have to wrap my head around the fact that I can actually do that, but um, I get a little better at it as I move along through the card and the coloring process. But anyway, I'm coloring this with Copics, and I'm going to have the Copic colors that I'm using for the card pop up in the lower left hand corner there so you can see which colors I used. The image itself is a digital image, which I really like to use. I use those most of the time, and it's printed on 80-pound Neenah cardstock using my Canon printer. The Canon printer is, for right now, it's my favorite printer of choice. I seem to have problems with the ink when using my Copic markers when I use other printers, but I haven't had that problem with my Canon printer, and at this moment I really like it. So I am going to go ahead and finish coloring this image in while I play some music. And I also wanted to mention that you can get onto my blog, which I will link below as well, if you'd like to see some of the other images that I've colored in or some of my other cards that I've done. You can go on over there to abushelandahug.blogspot.com. I'm going to play some music now so I can finish coloring in the image, and then I'll get back on and kind of explain how I put this card together at the end. Enjoy. Okay, I just about have this whole image colored in. I just have the little gift left to do here. I wanted to mention, and you'll see it later, the little piece of paper that I'm using as my background, the pattern paper that I'm using. And I've mentioned this before on my blog, but I think it's probably worth mentioning again that sometimes a lot of times actually, when I do my cards, I find the piece of paper that I want to use um, as an inspiration for colors. And sometimes I don't even actually use the paper on my card, but just to have a card with the colors that I like gives me a good starting point and helps me to pick good color combos. So here you can see that I have fussy cut around the actual loader, and then I used an X-Acto knife to get out the inner pieces. But when it came to the cab of the truck, I decided that it was too risky to try to cut all of that out, so I just colored it in with a T1 Copic marker and grayed it out there. So the next step here is to kind of deconstruct this loader or backhoe. I think it's a backhoe. Um, and so I want to make the arms so that the shovel pieces, so that they actually are movable on this card. So I kind of cut the little arm off and trimmed off the connecting piece there just so it wouldn't be quite as noticeable. And then I'm going to use a little, like a little hole punch, a hand punch that it's from We Are Memory Makers. But honestly, this is like one of the first scrapbooking tools I got, so I'm not even sure if it's still available. But I just punched a little hole there to put a brad in, and then I'm going to use a pair of wire cutters um, to just trim off the little ends of that brad so that they don't stick out beyond the sides of the little loader, backhoe, whatever it is, I'm not sure. So then I just kind of repeat that process on the other side and punch the hole and put in another little brad and get that ready to go. And then I used some this little piece of paper here that I'm just using kind of as a rough guide so that I can try to figure out where my ground will be. And I'm going to stamp in a couple of other presents just so it looks like that the backhoe is actually picking up that present that's on the shovel piece, like maybe he's picking it up out of a little pile of presents. So I just kind of roughly stamped that in as a guide, and just it didn't stamp quite right, so I just went ahead with my little marker and filled that in. It was pretty easy to do. And then I'm going to just do just freehand a little bit of ground here for the backhoe to sit on, or the so that it'll look like it's grounded. And I just used the brown markers that you see here and just did it, just put it on there until I liked it. And then what I'm doing here is I have a piece of paper that I just cut some scallops out of. This is my favorite way to create a background sky. It is so easy and it always looks really cool. I just cut the little scallops out of the paper and use it as a guide, and then using my chalk, just kind of move it around, and it just creates the coolest uh, the coolest look. And I apologize, the lighting is really bad. I finished this card up in the morning and the light was different and I have a little bit of a glare, so I really apologize for that. But I think at the end of this video, when I show the image of the finished card, you can really see how the sky turned out, and I think it always turns out pretty cool. So here I'm just coloring in these little gifts that I hand stamped in with the same colors that I used for the little boy's shirt and hat, just to keep the colors cohesive on the card, and just doing some pretty basic coloring and shading there. And then I used some glaze pens just to write in the color in the little ribbons there, give it a little dimension and shine. And so that's nice. And then I'm just going to put some little pop dots on the back of the backhoe so that it will kind of be raised, give it some dimension on the card. And I'll place that on my card there. And then you can see here how the little arms move. I just think that's pretty cute. So then I'll go ahead and mount that on the cardstock that I mentioned earlier. And I just freehand wrote in the number 3 since it is his 3rd birthday. And then I'm going to go ahead and create just a little gift tag for the gift that's on the card. And I'm going to handwrite his little name on that gift card so that it looks like those gifts are for him. And then I'm going to attach that to the little gift using some Gina K Connect, which is a great adhesive, by the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach this to my card base using that same adhesive. And that's it. And I thought the card turned out really great. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.